308 Winchester and shit hit the fan. Pimps, we're going to talk about it today on the channel. I know there's some of you out there that have been chomping at the bit for me to cover this cartridge. Well, your day has come. And it's true, guys. There's a lot of 308 Winchester lovers out there. And they're out there for a reason. Right, dudes? This is the most popular short-action hunting cartridge in the entire world. Not North America, not South America, not Western Europe, the entire world. And that many people can't be wrong. So we're going to talk about it today. Great cartridge, excellent selection. That's for those of you with ADD that can't stick through one of my videos. And if you can't stick through one of my videos, you're probably not going to make it through Shit Hit the Fan. Because you're going to get impatient, you're going to do something stupid, and you're going to die. So if you do have ADD, I'm just going to suggest that you focus on discipline. Discipline. All right, dudes? Because I used to have that shit when I was a kid, so I know exactly what you're dealing with. Control yourself long enough to watch a 20-minute video. Let's get back after it, pimps. 308 was first introduced to the civilian market back in 1952. It got popular fast, and it stayed that way, guys. It was accepted by NATO as a cartridge. Not really, though, right, dude? 7.62 NATO is not quite 308, but it basically is. I mean, the two cartridges are interchangeable. You can shoot either one in a rifle chambered for the other. What a 308 Winchester really is it's a 300 Savage with a little more powder capacity and higher pressures. That's what it is, dudes. You can look at this picture right here. You have on the left a 308 Winchester, and on the right, the parent cartridge, the 300 Savage. Now, 300 Savage had 52.5 grains of powder capacity, but the 308 has 55 grains. So we only increased it 3.5 grains when developing the 308 Winchester. So where does this additional energy come from? Because if you look at the two, shooting 150 grain bullets, in the 300 Savage, you're going to get 1,300 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle, but in the 308, you're going to get 2,650 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle. So you get an additional 350 foot-pounds, which equates to 15% more energy. And powder capacity has a little bit to do with that, pimps, but really it's the higher operating pressures because 300 Savage was built to withstand 47,000 PSI, and 308 was built to operate under 62,000 PSI. A lot of people don't understand this. They don't know that the pressures that a chamber can withstand can increase the velocity of your bullets to the degree that they can increase it. For example, if we compare 38 Special to 357 Magnum, 357 Magnum is only an 1/8 of an inch longer case. It doesn't hold that much more powder. But when coming out with the 357 Mag, it was designed to operate at higher pressures, so you could put a lot more modern smokeless powder in it than you could put in a 38 Special case. That's where all that extra performance comes from. Increased operating pressures. So, you know, 300 Savage was a good cartridge back in the day. I actually know people on the channels that make comments about it. They shoot it regularly. They really love it. It does a great job deer hunting and stuff like that. And it still does a great job today, although it's not very common and hard to find. So why did we need to step up to something more powerful? You know, guys, this is something I've been thinking about for a long time. And I'm of the opinion that marksmanship skills have continued to decline around the world. And a lot of times people develop new, hotter, faster, and flatter shooting cartridges to make up the difference. Let's look at 30-30 Winchester for a second, guys. I mean, it's been around for a super long ass time and people have killed every damn thing on the planet with it. It's always good to have the option to go to something that's going to provide better long-range performance, especially if you're in a place like this and you're going to need it sometimes. And that's kind of where 308 fits in, dudes. It's like a 300 Savage on steroids. Let's compare it to 30-30 Winchester for a minute because I did a video on that cartridge not very long ago. Very popular cartridge all over the damn place, just like 308. Energy-wise, looking at 150 grain bullets in both cartridges, you're going to see 28.2% more energy out of a 308 than you are out of a 30-30. Is that noticeable? you're damn right it's noticeable. In the 30-30 video, I used some examples, like if your truck had 28.2% more horsepower and torque, would you notice a difference? If your ding-dong was 28.2% longer and fatter, would your wife notice a difference? Yes, she would. So you're going to see a difference in the power differences with these kind of numbers. All right, dudes? And even going to 308 from 300 Savage, a 15% increase in energy, are you going to notice a difference? If you lined up two deer and shot one with the 300 Savage and shot the other one with the 308, are you going to notice a difference? Maybe not the first time, right? But if you did this over and over and over again, which is what a lot of hunters do, you're going to notice over the course of time that there's definitely a difference with that 15% additional energy. So what the advantage of 308 gives us over a cartridge like 30-30 is, it's pretty interesting, dudes. You produce the same energy at 200 yards with the 308 that you produce at the muzzle with the 30-30. So if you shoot a 150 grain bullet out of a 30-30 at a deer at 100 yards, and then shoot another 150 grain bullet out of a 308 at a deer at 300 yards away, those deer are getting smacked with the same amount of energy. So this is a definite improvement when it comes to effective range. Let's compare it to 30-06 really quick, because there's a lot of 30-06 lovers out there like myself. In 150 grainers, guys, you're really not going to see much of an increase in energy going to 30-06 over 308. You're really not. But you're going to notice additional recoil, so I don't think that 150 grainers are ideal for 30-06. In the aforementioned example, if we had a 30-30 taking a shot at 100 yards, a 308 taking a shot at 300 yards, and a 30-06 taking a shot at 350 yards, they're all going to produce similar energies across the board. So you're just not winning that much with 30-06 on 150 grainers. That cartridge really starts to shine when you get into the heavier grain weight bullets. And for a lot of game that are deer sized, you just don't need that. You know, do you need a 180 grain bullet to shoot deer? No, you don't. It's kind of overkill. Elk though, yeah, great idea. Black bear, great idea. And let's talk about 30 caliber bullets in general for a moment. All right, dudes? I'm going to tell you that there is something to the frontal face of a bullet. There's something to it. Even 30 caliber bullets going slower, like 7.62 by 39, when they smack a large animal, they have a different effect than like a 5.56. All right, dudes? That animal knows it's been hit. And, you know, a frontal face of a bullet obviously is going to increase the size of the wound over like a 22 caliber bullet. The frontal face of a 30 caliber bullet obviously is much larger than the frontal face of a 22 caliber bullet. We're talking about almost a 50% increase in diameter, but that equates to a much larger frontal face. I didn't do the math on it, but I'm willing to say that it's probably got 3.5, maybe 4 times the frontal face area. Now, 308, although it's a great cartridge, extremely popular, I don't think it can take full advantage of 30 caliber bullets. I'm going to tell you that. I think that even 30-06 can't take full advantage of 30 caliber bullets, because I think they really need to be longer and have higher BCs to really take full advantage. So you got cartridges like the 300 PRC these days that is really long Magnum cartridge with a precision chamber designed to very strict tolerances that is really going to eke out every last bit of ability when it comes to a 30 caliber cartridge. But do most of us need that? 308 Winchester is plenty of cartridge for the massive majority of people that are going to be shooting at big 4-leg critters and 2-leg critters. Another big win for 308 is how prolific it is, dudes. It is all over the damn place, and not just in North America. It is all over the world. NATO accepted it. Countries in Africa have accepted it. I mean, it's everywhere. South America, it's getting used. Canada, it's all over the damn place, pimps. It's like one of those cartridges, and there's a number of them out there, but the number isn't giant, you know. But it's one of those cartridges where if you got on a sailboat in SHTF and sailed across an ocean with your 308 rifle, when you hit land again, with some scrounging and some looking, you're going to be able to find it. Also, when it comes to bullet selection, this thing is so popular, dudes. It's been around for such a long ass time, 72 years now, that there are a ton of options for bullets. So if you like to reload, this one's just amazing. And you can load it down light if you want to do some varminting with it, although it's typically not looked at as a varminting cartridge, but you could get it done if you wanted to. And you can also load it up heavy. You can take elk with 308, no problem, dudes. You can take big coastal grizzly bears with 308 Winchester if you needed to. Probably not ideal, right? If you're going to go on a big bear hunt, it's probably not the cartridge you want to bring with you, but it can get it done, pimps. If a 180 grain hard cast bullet out of a 357 mag will kill a big brown bear, 308 Winchester will kill a big brown bear. You better just make sure your shot is tits if that damn thing's charging you when it goes down. So bullet options. In the 30-30 Winchester video, I talked about how probably 95% of the bullets floating around in the USA are high quality hunting bullets. I'd say that for 308 Winchester, it's probably 50-50. Probably half of the bullets floating around are full metal jackets because a lot of guys just like to put rounds down range. You know, get that time behind the rifle and make those hits out at distance. And that's a cheaper way to get that done. But there's a lot of guys that only use the rifle for hunting. They have no interest in trying to hit a target at 1,000 yards with a 308. They're going to use a superior cartridge to get that done if they're into it. But there's a lot of hunting bullets out there. So in shit hit the fan, if you had to scrounge 308, there's probably a 50% chance you're going to find quality hunting bullets. And guys, those matter. I've hunted big game with full metal jackets, and I've hunted big game with quality hunting bullets. And I'm going to tell you, without a doubt, it makes a difference. I've also shot small animals with both. What you're going to see there is that full metal jackets tend to just have a clean pass through, unless they hit some bone on their way through that animal. Whereas quality hunting bullets will blow small animals to pieces. You're going to see similar effects on meat when it comes to two-legged and four-legged critters. So to me personally, being a survivalist and a prepper for all these decades, the ability to find quality hunting bullets in a shit hit the fan scenario is a big plus to me. Let's compare it to 5.56 NATO real quick. I know some of you guys are going to be like, no, that's not fair. Well, it's not fair, but life's not fair. And a lot of people out there watching this video have experience with either 2.23 or 5.56, and so they know what to expect. And so by comparing the two really quick, we'll give people a little bit of an idea there, like what the 308 Winchester is capable of. Here's the bottom line when it comes to the two cartridges. 308 wins in just about every single way. The only ways where 5.56 has an advantage is carry weight of bullets. They're much, much lighter. We're talking like 60% lighter. So you can carry more ammunition if you had to bug out and do it by foot with 5.56. And then there's recoil energy. So people that are recoil sensitive, the 308's probably not going to be the best for you, although it's not a bad place to start if you want to step up to a more powerful cartridge that's going to recoil a little bit more. I've got comments out there, dudes, from guys that are shooting like 7.62 by 39. They're like, I'm a man. I shoot a cartridge with real recoil. That doesn't have real recoil, man. My kids shoot my 7.62 by 39. It's a light recoiling cartridge, and you definitely get more recoil with 308. It doesn't bug me though, dudes. I mean, 30-06 doesn't bug me. I've got like a shotgun that's 12 gauge and weighs 5 pounds. It's like an old single shot. And I put some hot shit through that damn thing. So I'm just like, I'm not recoil sensitive anymore. I don't flinch. I don't care. I'm not even thinking about it. But I'm not everybody. And if you're thinking about purchasing a rifle, a new one for shit hit the fan, or your first one, 308 Winchester might not be the best place for you to start. It's really going to depend. Like, are you recoil sensitive? Are you not? Are you going to spend the time behind the rifle to adjust? You know, because sometimes when people first get a rifle and they start shooting it, they're like, damn, it's kind of beating me up. And then they stop shooting it. But you have to dedicate yourself to it. You have to keep shooting it regularly. It's like getting bucked off a horse, man. If you don't get back on the horse, you're not going to be riding anymore. You got to get back on the horse. You also got to show that horse that's not going to keep you off of it. Here's the other thing to think about though, pimps. Time is growing short. Do you have the time right now to get a higher recoiling rifle and to train yourself to that recoil and to become comfortable with it? You might not have time. It's really looking like shit at the fans right around the corner at this point. Let's talk about what 308 Winchester is really going to do for us in SHTF, like real world shit. What can we expect from it? Well, if we can expect 30-30 Winchester to take deer out to 150, 200 yards, and even beyond if we really know our firearm and practice with it, we can definitely expect more from 308 Winchester. 300-yard shots are not going to be hard with this cartridge if you have the right optics set up, and even beyond 400, even 500-yard shots. But when you start getting out there, you're really going to have to spend more time practicing. The trajectory of this round is not amazing. It's not, guys. A lot of people are like, oh, 308's great. No, it's not great. The trajectory is not great. It's fine. That's what it is. And what is fine? Fine is okay. There's a lot of 30 caliber projectiles out there that are far better in the trajectory category. But still, like, how far do you need to take shots at? A lot of guys are like, I want to get a rifle that can shoot 800 yards. But their local range only goes out to 100. It's like, where the hell are you going to shoot the damn thing? You know what I'm saying? You don't even have a range where you can get out there and shoot 800 yards. So it'd be kind of pointless buying a rifle that could do it. Like, think about it, dudes. Most people are never going to take a shot at a large animal past 300. They're not. And what you really need to do in SHTF is you need to think about the average hunting distance in your area, and then you need to add 50% to it. Okay? That's what you need to do, dudes. Like out here, look at here. You see how wide open this is? Still, I've never had to take a shot at an animal past 300 yards. That's because this guy can stalk, man. And the huge majority of the time, I'm within bow hunter range. But you really have to look at your own situation. Let's say that 300 yards is the average distance at which you're pulling that trigger on big animals. You need to add 50% to that, because in SHTF, there's going to be a lot of hunting pressure. Everyone and their mom's going to be out there in their freaking travel trailers thinking they're going to go live off the land forever, and they're going to take every shot at everything they see, man. And the game pressure is going to be like nothing you have ever seen in your life. So if you've been hunting and killing things at 300 yards, you need to be prepared to do it at 450, and you need to practice for that. This is something that 308 can get done. You just got to spend the time behind the gun. Affordability. Because of how common 308 Winchester is, you're generally not going to break the bank when it comes to purchasing ammunition, guys. And there's a lot of options, especially online, for buying it in bulk. So it's not unreasonable. It's really not. It's not cheap, though. If you're on a severe budget, it's probably not the way that you want to go. You might be better off with a flatter shooting cartridge that you don't have to shoot as much to be proficient with at longer ranges. If you're on a budget, like 243 Winchester is a good option for that. 7mm 08, which is, both of those are actually necked down 308 cartridges. 243 is one necked down to accept a 6mm bullet, and 7mm 08 is a necked down 308 to accept a 7mm bullet. And both of those have good ballistic coefficients. They're faster, so they get there quicker. So if you can't spend a lot of time behind a gun to make long-range shots, something that's flatter shooting is going to get there quicker and help kind of reduce part of the margin of error when it comes to trajectory. That might be the way to go for you. Platform options for 308 pimps. There is just a ton of choices out there. Probably almost as many as 5.56 NATO, but I don't think so. I think that you still have just the number of people rocking ARs and bolt guns and 5.56 is just crazy. But there's a lot of options, dudes. There's tons of bolt action rifles, old used ones you can find on Gunbroker that aren't going to totally break the bank. Although if you want a quality firearm, nothing is really cheap these days. There's lever actions chambered in it that have either like a swing out magazine, an internal magazine, or even external magazines. Plenty of semi-automatic options. One of the popular ones out there is a Browning BAR, which used to have a swing out magazine at the bottom, and now they even make them with like a detachable mag version. That rifle has a good reputation for accuracy, even being semi-automatic. And then you've got the AR-10 platform. And they're kind of heavy, dudes, really, the AR-10s. I'm not a fan, dude. I'll tell you straight up, I'm not a fan. But Ruger recently came out with the Ruger SF-AR, which is a 7.62 by NATO chambered AR, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It might be 308. They're basically the same thing, right, pimps? They're pretty much just interchangeable. But that gun is a similar weight to an AR-15 in 5.56. So now we're getting somewhere, pimps. Yeah, we got all this high-speed ass technology, man. Can we not do more shit like this? In closing, guys, 308 Winchester is not some magical cartridge that can perform ballistic feats of sorcery. It can't do that. But it's plenty for what most people are going to need out there. And it's got plenty of power. And if you had to use it in a self-defense situation in SHTF, I'm going to tell you what, man. If you plug somebody with a 308, hundreds and hundreds of yards out, they're in deep shit. If it doesn't kill them outright, if you don't get some kind of body hit that kills them outright or kills them within a few minutes, they're not going to live long from that wound, especially if you're using quality hunting bullets. I can't sell those enough, pimps. I really can't, man. Full Metal Jacket is not where it's at when it comes to traumatic wounds. Hunting animals, it's plenty for anything mule-sized deer and smaller. You're going to get pass-through on pretty much every shot you take, unless you take a stupid shot. You know, you want those good broadside hits. You know what I mean? Right in the vitals, guys. That's the way to do it. And if the damn thing's close enough and you're good enough, go for a headshot. Preserve that body meat. A lot of dudes are fond of shoulder hits. I'm really not, guys. I'm really not, man. All those bone fragments can cause a lot of damage and damage a lot of meat, and that's not what you want to do when shit hit the fan. So those of you that are taking those shoulder shots right now, I'm going to challenge you this hunting season that's kicking off to take vital shots. You know, go look at the picture of the deer and know right where that heart's at and go for that instead. But yeah, pimps, plenty of cartridge. And like I said earlier in the video, this many people can't be wrong. It being the most popular short action hunting cartridge in the world is really saying something. That's it, dudes. Like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Comments down below, guys. Don't forget about that. It's always a conversation on this channel. I want to encourage you guys to rip off some comments down below, like what 308 are you rocking? If you're rocking one for SHTF, tell us some hunting stories, like your best shots. If you're thinking about buying one, let us know what you're thinking about buying. There's a lot of people on this channel that can give you some real good feedback. And make sure you check out my Patreon link in the description, guys. I do huge videos for my patrons called info dumps covering all the shit they want to hear me talk about. And I've got way more video on there than I have on YouTube and TikTok combined. So that's it, guys. I'll let y'all go. Take care. Get ready for what's coming. All right, dudes. I'll see y'all in the next video.